Alright, let's try this again, shall we? What's going on, everyone? My name is Trogdor, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are playing another game in the PTL. If you are, for some reason up to this point, not familiar with this league, PTL is the Pokemon Tri-League, a league in which there are 3 whole divisions of 16 players competing to be the best battler in the entire world. We are in Division 1 of the PTL, so that means we are playing with the top diggity dogs of, well, not necessarily in the world, but some seriously talented players in this league. Our Week 4 opponent is one of those super talented players. So we've got a super tough match ahead of us. This is the 4th week, and out of 15, so there's still just so much that can happen. We're getting a lot of the really tough battles out of the way, I feel like, but anyway, our opponent is Zayne Goose of the Baltimore Gliscorioles. My opponent, Zayne Goose, is 2-1 plus 6. I am 2-1 plus 3, so we're pretty matched at this moment. His team is super scary. I went over that a lot more in depth in my team builder video, which you should go check out in the description box if you haven't already. He's got some scary crap like Celesteela, ZERAORA, Arcanine, Mega Altaria. Skuntank is even really scary for my team. He's got Starmie, Virizion, Nidoking, Diancie, Zayne Goose, just a bunch of really... His team matches up extremely well against mine. A lot of that is just Pokemon like Celesteela that can just take on entire teams on its own. Arcanine can be offensive, defensive. The last time we battled in the NSTL, he brought Nidoqueen, which bodied me, and this time he has Nidoking, so he might be able to remember, oh, what beats Trogdor? Easy, let's go. So I'm predicting him to obviously bring Celesteela and ZERAORA. That's almost a no-brainer. I believe a physically defensive Arcanine has a super good matchup against me. It walls Aegislash super well. It can take a pretty good hit from a boosted Sharpedo. He can take Terrakion very well. I also believe that he's going to bring Skuntank just because I have Latias and that's a premier Pursuit Trapper. However, I still am bringing my Latias just because I think it can do damage and I've got a really fun set for it. So that being said, I'm bringing a lead Stealth Rocks Torterra. I'm bringing a mildly offensive Aegislash with a ton of bulk. I've got a Trick Specs Latias. I've got a Choice Scarf Terrakion. I've got a Subtoxic Salazzle and a very special Sharpedo. Sharpedo is actually going to be my win condition. Once I get his team down to a certain point and I feel comfortable going to town with Sharpedo, it actually does very well. There was a mock battle in which I brought Sharpedo and it was a physical set, right? But Arcanine came in and just demolished me. So I decided I'll go for a special set and catch it with a delicious Surf or Hydro Pump or Scald. I'm pretty sure I brought Surf just because I do not like low accuracy moves. So at that point in the game, there's a moment where physically offensive Sharpedo could have won if it weren't for that Arcanine, so I'm just going to bypass that by, being special. Salazzle is super fast and hits things like Celesteela really hard and can Toxic anything in the world. He's got a lot of immunities to Toxic in the likes of Skuntank and Nidoking as well. Terrakion, I need something that is really fast that can hit Earthquakes because a ton of his team gets donked by that, Zera, Arcanine, Nidoking if he decides to bring Diancie, Skuntank. So Terrakion's kind of crucial. So let's take a look at what my opponent ended up bringing. We obviously see right away, what a surprise, Nidoking, Celesteela. He brought Diancie. That's actually really interesting. He of course has the ZERAORA, Arcanine like I expected, and the Mega Altaria. So he's got, mostly I got it right. Interesting thing to note is no Skuntank, and I mentioned in one of my videos that if he decides to not bring Skuntank, my Latias can actually do very well, so I'm sitting pretty on that already. His Celesteela is going to be a problem as always, that Nidoking is going to be a problem as always, And I have no idea what that Diancie wants to do, but I've got Aegislash to switch into that and just donk it with an Iron Head or whatever. So let's get right on into this battle. I'm going to lead Torterra to get up my rocks because I would really like those up for this game. So let's see what happens in this battle. So I lead Torterra, he leads Nidoking. We're probably going to trade rocks right here. That'll be really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And okay, that happened. I should have seen that coming from like a mile away, but I thought trade rocks. Obviously, no, misplay turn 1. Great job, Trogdor. So I go into Terrakion. Obviously, I can hit it with a really hard Earthquake. He makes a smart play into the Altaria. Pre-Mega is immune to my attack. I don't want to... He's obviously going to Mega turn 1. I don't want to Earthquake and then get hit really hard by a Hyper Voice because I probably can't kill at this range. So I'm just going to go into my dedicated switch to this, being Aegislash, which is, you know, fantastic thing for Altaria. His attacks do, like, nothing to me. And, yeah. So Arcanine comes in, like expected, as I go for an Iron Head, and that does potatoes. To potatoes? No, potatoes are amazing. That does like pennies. Pennies are dumb and useless and no one likes them, so yeah. Arcanine, super easy switch into Aegislash all the time. So I go into my Latias as he goes for a Toxic, and that is going to put me onto a serious timer. Good play on my opponent because I would have been immune to that, and he predicted that switch very nicely. I obviously could have gone into Salazzle, but you know, that's not a good switch. So any of my good switches at that point, Toxic really hurts. So yeah, that's unfortunate. He goes into Diancie as I go for a trick. He receives 1 Choice Specs as I receive a Light Clay. So that's really interesting. He decided to bring a Screens Diancie, and had I not gone for my trick right here, that would have been like... That would have been insane. He would have gotten up some screens. I would have had to like stall him out while he sets up and just does a ton of damage. But instead, his Diancie is going to be forced out right away, which is great for me. So I go into Salazzle as he goes for the Reflect there. I'm going to go for a substitute right here. Nidoking is not immune, but my stabs don't do a lot of damage. However, I can get a poison on this, and which will be good, although at this point I'm pretty sure that it's, well, I was pretty sure that I was offensive, but given that it was just able to outspeed me and break my substitute, I know for a fact that this is a Scarf Nidoking. So that hits a lot of things just really hard for me. So I go back into my Latias on the predicted Earth Power, and I can go for a Psyshock right here. I no longer have my Choice Specs, but that's okay because I can vary up my moves. Diancie takes that very well as I go into my Aegislash, which I know I'm taking those hits for days. So Celesteela comes in, and oh, look at this. This is going to be fun. I have no real gauge of the kind of damage I can really do to this, but I'm at +2, so I'm just going to see what I can do as I go for the Shadow Claw. And I just realized I outsped that thing, which I did not intend to do that at all. So I always like to keep my Aegislash very slow, but guess who messed up some EVs? Yeah. Goes for the Leech Seed, super safe play because my Torterra is gone. So I'm just switching out of there into my Salazzle. Flamethrower does nothing to me, and I can scare it out with an Overheat or a Toxic or something. As Diancie comes in, I go for a Toxic on that. That's great. However, at this point, I know it's got specs. I'm going to do a good amount of damage with Sludge Wave, but Diamond Storm takes me out. I was a little bit too risky with Salazzle there, so it would have been nice to keep around. I would have loved to have a Toxic on the Celesteela to counteract any Leech Seed that it was getting from me, so I figure now's a good time to go into Sharpedo. It's definitely going to scare that Diancie out. Going to protect, get some speed boost going, and hopefully punch a hole right here because I've got a lot of moves for basically his team right now. So Altaria comes in, protect, goes for fail. Now right here, I did a calc. I was going to use Ice Beam, I'm modest max. I was calcing to see if this Altaria is like careful with full HP and even a little bit of Spit Def. The calc I was looking at said like an 80% chance to Oko. That was like amazing. I'm going to get rid of that Altaria right now. I get my speed boost, that's sitting pretty, and I do my Ice Beam and it does 50%. So I'm thinking, is that like level 100 or something? No. Did I forget to EV my Sharpedo? I go back and check. No. What's going on here? Hyper Voice takes me out. That dream is dead. The genius that I am, calced for a non-Mega Altaria, which obviously the Ice Beam is doing a ton of damage to, and it's got like way less bull. So, bad calc right there. Literally just cost me my win con, which is super unfortunate. So Aegislash comes in, obviously, but Arcanine is the perfect switch into this. So I go for my Iron Head, and yeah, like again before, that's not doing any damage. I go into Latias on the Nidoking right there. It's definitely Scarfed, but my Psyshock is scary for it, so I double into Aegislash right here. I'm going to go for the Sword Stance just because I know at like +4 I've got a chance to KO this, but with Leech Seed there, yeah, and he's got Flamethrower. I'm going to be at +4 attack now. This would have been great if I had Shadow Sneak. Instead of going for that second Sword Stance, I should have gone for the Shadow Claw. However, at that point I would have been in Blade form because I'm faster than the Celesteela because I forgot to put a -speed nature on my Aegislash. So, a lot of bombarding of misplay, bad prep. Good job, Trogdor. You have nothing for Celesteela. Just everything is not working out in my favor. If I can get one more hit on this, because I do outspeed, I'm at +4 because I'm about to get my weakness policy boost. Might be able to take out this Celesteela, making, you know, Terrakion's life easier. I can Earthquake everything from here. But as you can see, I get that boost as he protects. As I go for nothing and die to Leech Seed. So, had Celesteela been gone there, I could have just like rolled a train with Terrakion, doing Earthquaking everything. However, yeah, there's no taking this down at this point. I do have Thunderbolt with Latias, which, yeah, that's not even doing half, so that's a super bulky Celesteela. And Latias goes down. Terrakion comes in. The most damage I can do is close combat. That's not even enough to kill, and he goes for the Heavy Slam and takes me out. So that, boys and girls, is how I got 6-0'd because of some kind of bad prep, because of a terrible matchup, because of some terrible misplays starting from turn 1. Because of a very bad mid-game calc that cost me my win condition. Obviously, good game to my opponent. You played very well. You prepped very well. Your team is insane, and it's got like a ridiculous matchup versus me. But at the end of the day, the cards were just not in my favor here. Bad matchup, and then toppled on top of that is just like, well, how do I make prep or do calcs or not give Aegislash a nature or all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, just a lot went wrong in this game. Cost me a 6-0, but you know what? You live and you learn, and you just play some more Pokemon. So, good game, Zayne. I will battle you again, hopefully. Maybe a friendly, or I'll see you in the playoffs. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, everyone. Subscribe if you like this stuff, and if you're new, and if you're excited for the rest of the season. Like this video if you liked it. Comment down below what do you think my worst misplay was, because there were a lot. It's going to be a fun comment section, hopefully, if you guys do that. So, yeah, that's all for me. I'll see everyone in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.